Hi everyone, this is May Park. I hope you guys are having a great day. Today I'm going to show you how to combine the images from a few different stamp sets to create a Christmas card with stamped background. I'm a big fan of stamping with the small images. My inspiration came from these cards I made. When it comes to mixing images from different stamp sets, it's important to choose the stamps that have a similar design style or similar thickness of the outline images. For today's project, I'm going to use 3 stamp sets from Paper Smooches, Merry Motifs, Holly Jolly, and Giddy Gumdrops, because they have the same design style with a holiday theme. I already tested out the placement of my stamped images and I'll refer to this practice paper while I'm stamping. I already prepared my A2 size panel, which is 4¼ inch by 5½ inches out of Nina Solo White 80-pound cardstock. You can stamp the images directly onto A2 size top folding white card base if you want to. I'm going to pull out my oval die from Hero Art's Oval Infinity dies. I'm drawing a guideline on my panel by tracing the outside of the die using a pencil. If you don't have an oval die, you can draw the oval shape yourself. It's okay not to be perfect because you are going to erase it eventually. Just make sure you have enough room inside the oval frame for your sentiment and image. I'm placing my A2 size panel inside the minimalist stamping tool and I'm going to arrange my image and sentiment to find a perfect placement for stamping. Since I'm going to color my images with Copic markers, I'll be using Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink, which is alcohol marker friendly. You can also use alternate permanent black ink or Hero Art's Intense Black ink. I'm going to ink up my stamps with Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink. Then I'm closing the misty door to stamp my sentiment and image onto the paper. Since I didn't get a good impression, I'm going to stamp one more time to get a nice and intense impression. If you'd like your images to have less intense impression, I recommend you use Memento Tuxedo Black ink. I'll be stamping my images along the guideline first. I'm also stamping the same images on post-it notes to create masks. You can use ink cutting cardboard masking paper if you want to. In my case, I prefer to use a post-it note along with a removable adhesive to hold the mask in place because it's inexpensive. I'm going to cut out the image on the post-it note with my scissors. I recommend you cut slightly inside the stamping line. That way, you can get more perfect stamping while masking the images. I'm cutting several post-it notes at once to save my time. I'm going to layer my masks over the stamped images on my panel, covering the images completely using Tombow removable glue tape. If you have post-it notes with a full adhesive on the back, you will need a removable glue tape. Then I'll be stamping other images of my masks, positioning the images partially onto the mask. I will continue stamping and masking until I finish creating my entire background outside the oval frame. When you create a stamped background, it's important to balance the placement of your images. You need to decide which image you stamp first, because the image you stamp first will be appeared in the foreground and the second image will be partially behind the first image. I also love to start stamping with the larger images first and fill in the gaps with the smaller images later. And I'm making sure to have gaps between the same images. That way you can balance your placement better. Now I'm going to turn on some music and speed up the process. I'll be back once I'm done stamping. So here comes the most fun part of the masking. I'm going to remove all of the masks to reveal my Christmas background. Masking takes time and it can be messy, but it's a great stamping technique that allows you to create an illusion of depth. If you haven't done so, I highly recommend you give it a try. After my stamping is done, I'm going to erase the pencil line with an eraser. Now it's time for coloring. Here is my collection of Copic markers, and I store them in a plastic container which says 2/. I'm going to color my images with traditional Christmas colors including red and green. I'll be using 3 shades of color for each image to create a blended look. I'm going to apply my lightest color first and fill my 3 images entirely from edge to edge. This helps saturate the paper, which allows for easier blending and creates a vivid undertone. Then I'm taking my darker marker and flicking the darker color from the top of the tree out toward the edges. This leaves a darker area at the beginning of the stroke and a lighter area at the end of the stroke, making it easier to blend. Then I'm going to add medium color on top of my lighter color and pull out the darker color to blend in the areas, making sure to leave some of the lightest shade visible, as those areas will become my highlights. I'm going to repeat blending until I get a smooth transition from light to dark. Make sure to limit how much you color over the darkest areas with the lightest marker to avoid over blending. So here I'm mainly using the flicking technique to blend the colors. This is also called feathering. By using the tip of your brush and laying down the marker and then flicking where your marker touches the paper last is going to be a lot lighter then. This leaves the lighter part much easier to blend with the next color. The little gaps between your flicks will also help blend the next lighter color. You can always go back and add darker or lighter shades if you want to. Now I'm going to turn on some music and speed up the coloring process so you can enjoy watching me color. I'll be back soon. Once my coloring is done, I'll be mounting my color panel on the A2 size top folding white card base with alternate glue tape. Then I'll be adding tiny dots to my trees using white gel pen to add some details to my Christmas themed background. I'm going to stamp the sentiment from the Giddy Gumdrop stamp set with the Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink on a piece of white cardstock. Then I'll be trimming my sentiment into a thin banner using craft knife and ruler. I'm mounting my sentiment banner on the card front using 3M foam tape to give some dimension. I'm using my T-square ruler to place my sentiment banner in straight. I applied Ranger Star dust stickers and mini glossy accents to add some interest to my images. I am finishing off my card by adding some shimmers with Wink of Stella glitter white brush. That's all for today. If you like my video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel so you won't miss any new video from me. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time with another video. Bye bye!